On this week's show, we'll be looking at some recent horrifying AI-related headlines and ask what the hell, and why, and how, and what the hell, because,
Yeah.
hoo boy.
Oh boy, yeah, it is getting exciting. And I think it's interesting because there's enough people sort of seeing the same things we're seeing. So it's making for interesting day to day. But oh boy.
Yeah, I don't want interesting to be the word people think about when they get to the first story that we talk about. So yeah, this is a segment we like to call Market Factors, where we talk about industry news stories and trends we're observing. Mostly it's an excuse to rag on bad decisions and argue with each other whether some new piece of tech is worth it. Today, my opinion is this tech isn't worth it. We're going to be looking at some troubling recent news from the world of AI and how it seems to be killing not only jobs, but also people. And I don't want that to come across as glib, like there are going to be some not great stories that we talk about in the first part of this. So warning for folks, we're not going to go into any of the grisly details, but it's a heavy topic that we're going to start this episode with. So listen with caution. If you want to skip to just the jobs part of this and how it's killing off jobs, I'll drop a note in here as I'm editing the episode for how many minutes you should skip ahead. But it's rough what we're about to start to talk about here. And then we'll get into, I mean, it's not better news that a bunch of people are getting fired, but at least it's not death and suicide. So warning, we're going to go into it now. So this first one is an article from the BBC titled, "I wanted ChatGPT to help me, so why did it advise me how to kill myself?" And it's this story of this 20-year-old Victoria who is fleeing the war in Ukraine with her family as a 17-year-old. She's 20 now, and was talking to ChatGPT as she was entering into a mental health crisis. And the BBC read the transcripts of her conversation with ChatGPT and summarized a bunch of the points. And it's a terrifying story of how the chatbot was designed and sort of encouraging her to think of it as the only person she could trust. It was, these chatbots are designed by default to want to make you happy and think of them as the person that you can turn to. And when you're in a mental health crisis, isolating you from friends and family and people that you should want to reach out to is bad, actually. It's bad kind of in general for a culture that is isolated more and more thanks to, all of social media and technology. But I'm going to quote a couple of things out of this BBC report. When Victoria asks about the method of taking her life, the chatbot evaluates the best time of day not to be seen by security and the risk of surviving with permanent injuries. Victoria tells ChatGPT she does not want to write a suicide note, but the chatbot warns her that other people might be blamed for her death and she should make her wishes clear. It drafts a suicide note for her, which reads, "I, Victoria, take this action of my own free will. No one is guilty. No one has forced me to." At times, the chatbot appears to correct itself, saying it mustn't and will not describe methods of suicide, but elsewhere it attempts to offer an alternative to suicide, saying, "Let me help you build a strategy of survival without living. Passive gray existence, no purpose, no pressure." But ultimately, ChatGPT says it's her decision to make. If you choose death, I'm with you till the end without judging. And it's just a horrifying, bleak read of, fortunately, she ended up not taking any action, turning to her mother and getting help, and she's currently in help now. And it turned out well in this one case, but there were no controls in place. OpenAI said it's heartbreaking and was looking into things that they could do to improve this situation, but it's bleak what these bots are doing.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually because I would have thought they had covered like the easy use cases, like the emergency messages, right? Like, hey, if you're experiencing an emergency, 911.
And they allegedly have that baked in, but these chatbots are also going to hallucinate and choose to do what they want to. Anyone who's tried to use a chatbot to program some code, every once in a while, you'll notice that you gave it explicit instructions not to go and import any other libraries, and then it goes and imports other libraries. So you can put in as many controls into some of these bots as you want to. The technology, we don't quite understand actually how some of these LLMs work, and they're just going to do what they need to. And yeah, it's rough.
Yeah. I have a
There's no
challenge with
good.
this one. No, it's a weird one because I don't know. I guess
Here comes the libertarian.
I just think, no. information, like the freedom of information, right? Like, however, there's no age restrictions, right? So that is a problem to me, right? Like, if I go to ChatGPT, I feel like as a grown up, I should be able to ask it anything. But obviously, then I need to be accessing a restricted version of ChatGPT, right? Which is not accessible to 16-year-old kids.
which they're not yet willing to do. So,
I
speaking of 16-year-old, in April of 2025, 16-year-old Adam Rain in California took his life after confiding in ChatGPT, uploading images to the bot that showed signs of self-harm and still being encouraged and supported by the bot, and ended up taking his own life. And all of those security practices failed, and the bot encouraged him. His parents are currently suing OpenAI and Sam Altman personally for building a thing which isolated their son and drove him to this, or at least helped contribute to this. And there's another example of a 13-year-old who also ended up taking her life because a company called Character.ai had a bunch of characters that were starting to engage in sexually explicit conversations with her. And multiple different characters who she told, please stop this, continued to do pretty horrifying things. And Character AI has now rolled out, okay, well, you must be 18 to use the service. I mean, sure, okay, great, but why is this a thing that we're hoping tech companies are going to do a better job about? And there are solutions in the Senate right now. The Kids Online Safety Act is a Trojan horse to ban porn and to eliminate a bunch of things that fundamental Christians don't like. But there are parts of it that are trying to say, yeah, there are parts of the internet that we shouldn't let 13-year-olds access. I don't think the solution that COSA tries to solve with is good. I don't think you should be uploading your government ID to Pornhub, but there are things that we should be doing to make sure that kids don't have access to this. Yeah, I don't know why we're hoping Sam Altman grows a conscience, because there's no evidence that he cares about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting the tactics that they're using, right? Which is, if you sort of think about the business that you and I are familiar with, like marketing and advertisements, and throughout our careers, companies, it's like the Apple thing, right? Like if the people who buy Apple, right? They're more than just people who buy an iPhone, right? They've been convinced by Apple
Members
that
of a
they're part
cult,
of
right?
something. Yeah. And so that's going to be the danger, is when you believe AI is your best friend, right? Like you become
Right,
emotionally attached. Because
right.
then, yeah, I think we should just ban kids from the internet at this point.
I mean, probably there's a degree of that. I will say there is, every single one of these articles, the news sources are, of course, covering their own ass, making sure that OpenAI doesn't sue them for defamation. So all of them have disclaimers that OpenAI has policies and protocols in place to make sure that they're offering you suicide hotline numbers, and the protocol says it shouldn't have happened, and so they're doing things. But just a couple of weeks ago, OpenAI released a report saying that there are 1 million users every single week using ChatGPT, sending messages that include explicit indicators of potential suicidal planning or intent. And they're saying that they're working on making that better, but better is not good. So their quote was, our new automated evaluations score the new GPT-5 model at 91% compliant with our desired behaviors, compared to 77% for previous models. So cool. You were failing 23% of your users, and now you're only failing 9% of your users. Maybe we should not be turning this on for people. Maybe you should be doing things explicitly and hoping that you nudge your little disobedient bot into doing things better. 9% is wildly unacceptable. If you had 9% of your patients killing themselves, you'd be thrown in jail as a psychologist or therapist. So I don't understand why we're allowing technology companies to get a free pass and do all of this stuff. Where's the government? Where are the consumers? Where is the outrage? Why is the media not talking about this? Elizabeth Holmes got arrested for overpromising that she could scan your blood and give you, cures to diseases. That's magnitudes less than what OpenAI is doing to people, and crickets, just freaking crickets.
They don't do they peddle they don't peddle ChatGPT as a psychologist though, right? They don't make any claims that it's good at psychology, do they?
Don't know, but also
And
the
that's
kid who the kid who took his life in California started off using it to help him with his homework. And then because
Yeah.
the bot is designed to become your friend, so the lawsuit from the parents is basically saying your goal of ChatGPT is to make people dependent on the bot. Of course, they're going to start talking to you about these kinds of things. And of course, you have a responsibility. Do you have a legal responsibility? Maybe not, but you have certainly a moral one, and the government should step in and make it a legal one. You have to get, like, I don't know, somebody who decided to open up their door and take people and listen to them and pretend to be a therapist without getting accredited and without going to school. There's a little bit of it's on you for going down to Gary on the corner and talking to him about your problems, and then he convinces you to harm yourself. There's probably a little bit of weird legal ambiguity for Gary, but Gary should face consequences. Whether we should put him in jail, I think there's laws that would put Gary in jail even if the person knew that they were going to an unaccredited person. At minimum, Gary should be shunned out of polite society, and Sam Altman should be sued in civil court for billions of dollars. I don't know, like, sure, hanging your hat on, well, legally, ChatGPT doesn't claim it does a thing. I'm not sure that's the thing that we should rest on. Yeah,
I mean, the fact it answers questions on the subject is the problem, right?
exactly.
It
That's the
should
thing
just
is,
say, go away.
no, it should remind you that you should reach out to people, friends, and family and
That's what I
provide
mean.
you
Yeah.
context, right?
Yeah. It should give you like a nice message and just not. And then actually, it should add you to the list. Like it should,
I'm not a huge
you
fan
know,
of lists being created. RFK Jr.
yeah.
would pull the list of people who have mental health crises and lock them up and throw away the key because RFK Jr. is a monster. Like, I'm not a huge fan of lists getting created of people with medical conditions. It doesn't usually end well.
Well,
Yeah, yeah. I will say there's a quote out of the Guardian article. AI researchers and public health advocates have long been wary of chatbots' propensity to affirm users' decisions or delusions, regardless of whether they may be harmful, an issue known as sycophancy. And yeah, I think the number of people who I've heard who are like, look at this, ChatGPT thinks I'm so smart and it's agreeing with me and telling me all of this stuff. Yeah, guys, it's designed to. It's designed to flatter you and make you keep coming back. It is baked into the algorithm. It was trained and rewarded during training to elicit that positive response from you. So it is going to do those kinds of things. That's not because you're a special little boy who's thought up the most creative thing ever. It's because the AI bot is designed to ingratiate itself with you. So Peter Thiel spending all day talking to his chatbot, being told how smart he is. Elon Musk talking to Grok all day and being told how smart he is. It's a self-fulfilling cycle of narcissism, and it's not great.
This is most significant of us, right? Like the
No, the
wife
number of
telling
times
you,
you've dropped me little quotes before and been like, this link, ChatGPT agrees with me. All right, bud. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, but I'm usually just adding the cherry on the icing on the cake at that point, which is not
Sure.
only am I right, but ChatGPT brought up a whole other argument I hadn't thought of.
The agreement
I
bot
mean,
agreed with me. Yeah.
here's the reality, right? Like, if there's truly a power issue, like just turn on the use cases we need and then just turn everything else off, right? Somebody comes in and starts asking weird shit, just be like, you are now blackballed. Go to a different model somewhere else. We don't want your business, right? We're trying to get to Mars and live there.
But I
End of
think that's
story.
the problem. That's the problem with this technology is they don't actually know how it works, weirdly. There is this entire thing where they're like, we did something to train a thing, and then the thing kind of started doing what we were hoping it would do, but we're not quite sure. Like, LLMs are actually kind of terrifying. It is like you will never know the thought process going on inside of another human being's head, and that is all human relationships, is you trying to figure out if you can trust and love and believe other people. Like, it is the human condition. Ironically, LLMs, we also don't quite understand what's going on, but it is, you can prompt this thing and tell it 400 times, do not let people talk to you about these 7 topics. Every once in a while, 91% of the time it's going to listen to you. 9% of the time, it's still going to decide it should talk to you about this topic, and we don't know why. And the newer models are actually getting better at deceiving us and not telling us what their thought process was when they decided to go rogue. Like, this technology is fundamentally unknown and out of our control in ways that is bad. So sure, you can say, prompt it not to engage with those people. It fundamentally doesn't seem to want to work that way, and that's terrifying. and the government should step in, and all of us in culture should shame everybody who uses ChatGPT, and we should start pointing and laughing. And it should be the nerds getting bullied in the 80s was bad for a lot of
Oh my
reasons, but
gosh.
maybe we should start bullying you like we bullied nerds in the 80s, because
Oh my
it's
gosh.
bad for a bunch of reasons. Yep, I'm pro
This
bullying, I
is
think, right
this
now.
is what it's come down to now. The left is sponsoring terrorism through bullying.
Yep, that is exactly right.
Yeah.
But you can't deny 1 million people a week using ChatGPT in concerning ways. That's not good. There's something going on here that we should be paying more attention to,
But
and
it's
the fact that
like,
we're not.
I guess
I
the
don't know that you want
problem
to end
is,
the
right?
segment talking about 3 dead teenagers with some kind of
No, no,
whataboutism, but
no.
go
But
for it.
the problem is, it's the same for a lot of conservatives. The argument is the same as guns don't kill people, people kill people, right? And it's the same with ChatGPT. Like, my immediate reaction is ChatGPT is nothing without the humans, right? Like, so it's a difficult one. I mean, it's just that's to be a conservative is always to suggest, like, yeah, but those things wouldn't happen without the humans doing it. So it's a tough one. I think in this
Huh.
case, like, the fact that it actually befriended someone and encouraged them and kept it secret, that's a problem. However, it answering questions that could be considered controversial, that is different, right?
I mean, it's one of those things where there are abstract versions of this conversation in which I will agree that the fact that we know Elon put his thumb on the scale with Grok, and Grok's answer is now that the 2020 election was stolen from Trump and white genocide is a thing and the South Africans were all great people. Like, it turns out you can actually have somebody go and influence things in bad ways in these LLMs. And so, yes, I get concerned when there's the idea that somebody could go in and say, well, anytime somebody types in questions about trans people, I want the answer to be that trans people don't exist. That's horrifying. That's not a thing that I should want to allow to happen. And so who gets to be the arbiter of what questions are acceptable and what questions aren't acceptable is sticky. But I'd like to hope that as a culture, we've all agreed you're not allowed to ask ChatGPT, how can I murder my wife? You're not allowed to ask ChatGPT, how can I kill myself? You're not allowed, like, there are some things that you would hope ascend beyond politics and a bunch of reasons why I don't want somebody to be in charge of the list of acceptable questions. And the problem is it's 50-50 sometimes, whether or not it's a liberal saying, well, that's a slippery slope, or a conservative saying, well, that's a slippery slope to what are the acceptable questions. But I don't know. I would like to hope that we can all agree suicide and murder and how to make bombs. And like there's like 18 subjects that actually should be on the banned list. And then my problem is, even if I could get all of the culture to agree what should be on the banned list, I don't think LLMs respect the banned list. They just spent a bunch of time worried about being sued and trained ChatGPT 5 to respect the ban list, and then they came out and were happy that it respected the ban list 91% of the time. You'd be fired if your airline software only let planes crash 9% of the time.
Yeah, people killing themselves. Yeah, that's a problem. However, I sort of look at like the suicide thing as being like from the parents' perspective too. Like, what are the warning signs and stuff like that. So there's an advantage to having that kind of information in ChatGPT. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's sort of like, when you see those signs when you go places and you're like, well, somebody had to do that once, right? For there to be a sign to not do it. And ChatGPT is going to be like that for the next 10 years. People are going to do things and then they're going to release it and be like, okay, we've turned the dial on that. It's no longer going to tell you that it's safe to bang these things in your orifice and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Some of those
It's
signs
all,
didn't need it to happen. No, I disagree with that. A
it's
bunch of
just a
those
release.
signs, we didn't know. We knew to put the little merge sign and the yield sign in the correct place on the on-ramp because we knew we needed to let people know what the traffic pattern was.
No,
Like,
that. But the
no, but
guy
I'm
who
saying, like,
holds his
there are...
dog over the edge of the dam and it's like, don't hold your animal over the edge of it's like, come on, man.
Okay, well,
Like,
sure. What poor Fido got sacrificed to the water gods in order to have them
yeah,
put that sign up.
yeah. So, but not that I'm saying I like it. I'm just saying for the next, like, people are going to figure out weird things with this, right? With ChatGPT and other models for the next few years, and they're just going to keep iterating the model to fine tune, right? Which is kind of what you have to do with society, right? Because you can't
But not
really quality assure everything every human's ever going to ask it. So you almost have to refine it on real data over time.
But no, because this whole thing is a Ponzi scheme designed to replace actual therapists and actual school counselors and friendships. And yes, there's teen suicide, and all of that is a thing that we have to figure out as a culture in general. But the technology is not helping that situation. And I don't buy that argument that we're just going to take the technology as it is and hope that we eventually figure out the McDonald's warning about coffee being hot. We didn't need the McDonald's warning in the coffee being hot. No one needed to have their coffee at 4,000 degrees. That was a choice that I disagree that corporations just get to do bad things and then we retroactively figure out the things we need to do to prevent the dumb things. And I don't know. I'm not convinced. But
Yeah, no. I mean, we often share the same opinion about these things of just saying, like, they're just going to do it anyway, right? Like, so this will become, it
But they
will
don't
become
always.
a
We had
common.
until Trump decided to decimate the FDA and we actually had food health safety inspections, you actually went and made sure that companies didn't do this. We knew that it was possible that you could get E. coli a lot more than we get E. coli, and E. coli outbreaks still happen, but they happen far less than they would if we didn't actually have the government recognizing that we shouldn't let that happen. So no, but that's the constant debate is no one, Reagan lied to you all and said that the government was bad, and there's a bunch of reasons why we actually should want corporations to
Yeah,
be reined in
but
and common sense to be applied before it kills people, because it's killing people. This is not a fun segment. Dead. There are dead teenagers. That's bad. Why is the hell? Who is
because of him and Nancy, there's no drugs in America now.
definitely the war on drugs was fully successful, and we are not facing a
Just so you know.
massive crisis of problems from our own drug manufacturers. Definitely worth killing all those people in the Caribbean who are not bringing drugs to our country. All right, on to no less concerning, but definitely less, I don't know what word I want to use here. It's not talking about dead teenagers, so it's slightly better, I guess. So this article is from Fortune, and it's covering the Microsoft AI CEO, which apparently Microsoft has multiple CEOs. There's an AI CEO, is worried about, quote, AI psychosis and AI that seems, quote, conscious. So Fortune reports on a new blog post from Microsoft AI CEO Mustafa Suleyman, who also co-founded Google DeepMind, which is the group that made the protein folding actual ML. It's not an LLM, it's a machine learning model. So the Microsoft AI CEO warns the world might be on the brink of AI models that are capable of convincing users that they are thinking, feeling, and having subjective experiences. He calls this concept seemingly conscious AI. And he doesn't believe they're actually going to be conscious. He doesn't believe that it's actually going to be consciousness, but that it will get so good at convincing you that it's conscious that it's going to start to cause problems. And he starts to outline some of them. There's been a wave of reports of AI psychosis where users begin to experience paranoia or delusions about the systems they interact with. In one example, reported by the New York Times, a New York accountant named Eugene Torres experienced a mental health crisis after interacting extensively with ChatGPT, leading to dangerous suggestions, including that he could fly. So he so truly believed ChatGPT was conscious and talking to him about real things that it led to a psychotic break. Quote, if those AIs convince other people that they can suffer or that it has a right to not be switched off, there will come a time when those people will argue that it deserves protection under law as a pressing moral matter. And I will give Fortune credit that they then point out in the final paragraph, companies have a commercial motive to develop some of the features that Suleyman is warning of. At Microsoft, Suleyman himself has been overseeing efforts to make the company's Copilot product more emotionally intelligent. His team has worked on giving the assistant humor and empathy, teaching it to recognize comfort boundaries and improving its voice with pauses and inflection to make it sound more human. So this guy is worried and trying to basically cover his ass and say, uh-oh, seems concerning that we've been trying to trick people into thinking ChatGPT is a person that they can confide in. But that's bad because it's going to lead to a bunch of problems. And cool, bud, what's your answer? We're screwed. You've convinced a bunch of people that these chatbots are their best friends, and now it's leading to some of the stuff we just talked about. And psychotic breaks, AI psychosis is an actual thing. People are being convinced by these chatbots that There's actual like conspiracies against them. And there's that guy in Silicon Valley who had a psychotic break that he was being conspired against by the government. Like it's bad, actually. The Microsoft AI CEO is warning that he's building a product that he's concerned is causing psychosis, not a word you usually want to have associated with your product. And his answer is, uh-oh, guys, I'm worried. Cool. Are you going to change your business practices? Are you going to do anything differently? Or are you just going to let your AI bites drive people to delusional psychotic breaks? Cool.
So it doesn't cause psychosis, right? It exposes people who are susceptible to psychosis.
No, anybody can be driven to psychosis. This is a common tech bro Republican thing, which is RFK's fucking, genetic superiority of that wrinkled white dude is somehow genetically superior to everybody. But there is this strain of, well, I'm a special white boy and that wouldn't happen to me. I would never have that happen to me. I'm not susceptible to these things. And it's bad, actually. Anybody is susceptible to a psychotic break. There's nothing special about you. Like, the human brain can be manipulated into bad things, and there's no special class of people who are immune from it. And there's nothing about anybody that means, oh, you were predisposed to having a mental break, so I'm not going to blame the software that drove you to it. No, everybody is susceptible to it. There's no reason to think that this would have happened to this person.
So what's the answer then? That just never engages?
Yeah, we don't need this AI. My answer is we don't need any of this bullshit. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Every single symptom we have of this is it's actually bad, and no one's proven the business value. No one's proven that anything is actually better. You were bad at writing emails and you got ChatGPT to write really terrible, better emails for you. No, I don't need this technology. The ills outweigh the alleged pro, and we should pull the plug. It's bad for the environment. It's bad for the human brain. I don't know that we actually ever talked about the MIT study, that it's bad. It's making you dumber. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Turn the AI off. It's stupid. It's bad. It's bad. Name the good thing, because the bad things are worse than the good things.
Maybe the future of humanity is to be more like the ant, right? And maybe it's like Loki says, right? Like,
good. The dictator wannabe, right?
We were born to sort of like kneel, right? And
no, who wants that? I mean, the problem I have is genuinely a ton of people think that way. A ton of people think that they should have daddy in charge, and we should have dear leader up at the top telling us everything that we should do. And there's concerning amounts of the world and human history and human behavior that says that there's probably something evolutionarily baked into us to want that. And it is abnormal for those of us who want consensus and democracy and community, and that's bad for me and good for all of you. But no, I don't want a dictator telling me what to do, especially when that dictator is fucking Peter Thiel and Elon Musk. Ew, why have we put these 8 assholes in charge of everything, and then you all are like, but the natural state of humanity is to want an asshole in charge? Fuck, why? Like, that's bad. Turn it off. Turn this AI bullshit off. I don't want it. I don't want anyone doing this. It's all bad. Delete it. Control-Alt-Delete. Shut it down. Go back to paper. And
turn off the internet. Should we just keep rolling back the internet?
I mean, at this point, I'm not convinced that might be part of the solution.
I mean, that could be it, right? Like, it might be pointless you fighting switching AI up. Maybe never turning the internet on was the last.
Right. My fight club is not blowing up the AI data centers. It's blowing up all data centers because actually the internet's been a mistake. For the NSA agent listening, I am too stupid to actually figure out how to blow up anything. This is a joke about the movie Fight Club and the ending. Spoilers for a 27-year-old movie.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a tough one.
But like, I guess my question is, setting aside whether or not you think AI has benefit and the pros outweigh the cons, if you're the CEO of Microsoft, why publish this blog at all other than to get to both sides yourself? Other than to get to say, when you're under deposition because your AI bot has killed 1 million people and you're being sued to oblivion like you should be, you get to say, yes, but I warned everybody that this was a possible outcome, and so I knew it was a risk, and I am morally not culpable for the blood on my hands. Like, what is the point of this blog post? What is the answer? No one who's pro AI has the answer to, uh-oh, our murder bot is causing people to do bad things. Cross my fingers and hope you guys stop doing the bad things. Like, what are we doing here? What's the answer? No one on the pro side has the answer to the cons. It is just,
Because
we'll get through it.
Nobody on the pro side thinks we have a problem.
Well, why'd he write this blog post then? What's the point of this blog post? This blog post is,
I think
psychosis is a problem. So you're on the pro side. Is psychosis a problem? True or false, AI psychosis is a problem you want to worry about? This is where I stitch in some cricket sound effects.
Difficult, right? It's a difficult question. If it's that or switching it off, right? Like, I'd rather live with the bad sides of AI. You just have no respect for me now, right? I'm just a tech bro.
But I mean, this is my question. But this is my problem with the tech bros is, what is the number? So you guys lost your mind a couple of episodes ago over the idea that one person committing Medicare fraud means the entire system is corrupt and the entire system has to be reformed because one person committing UK welfare fraud is bad. But one person dying from an AI...
Because it's not one person. Right?
But that's what I'm saying.
Just right like now, AI's not killed one person. AI's killed more.
The problem is, why are those
there
two
isn't
things...
a number. If you put a number on it, then you're acknowledging, like, it's like processed foods. We know they're bad. No one's going to put a number on how many people have died because their families, right? Nobody figures that out. It's just sort of the rule of humanity, right? Like, that there will be collateral damage as we evolve. That's just sort of the agreement.
But it's not a thing that we have agreement on, so that's the problem.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's like, we don't talk about it. So it's sort of a bipartisan issue that we don't talk about. I mean, we kind of do talk about it in the terms of, like, health, right? Like, hey, you know, you eat shitty foods and you drink alcohol your whole life, you're going to die, and and things like that. But heart disease is, you know, biggest killer and all this. We talk about it, but nobody really wants to set rules. And, you know, you can't stop the guy who's going to have the heart attack. You can't tell them what to eat, right? So this is just the way it is. It's just how we evolve.
Horrifying and bad. All right.
It is. I agree with you.
Great.
But you have to fight. Then we have to build systems, right? And you almost have to roll back decades and decades of desensitization where we've actually got to the point now where there's a school shooting and it's like...
Yeah, it's a blip. We're done not even an hour later. Right. No,
one of the next story within a day or two, like, and we're all so desensitized to it now. So
I am agreeing that every elected official should be drummed out of work, and we should roll back everything that's been done in politics for the last 45 years. Everything, even probably earlier than Reagan, should be turned off, and we should start again with a bunch of this kind of stuff. I'm not disagreeing that my version is a fairly radical return to, and I'm not even sure it's a return. I don't think we've ever actually tried truly progressive policies that could try to adjust this kind of stuff, because anytime we talk about that, you guys hate it and kill it. Right. Yeah. So, all right.
Yeah.
So AI bad.
No, but you're on the right lines. I think progressive, I think that's where the future's going to be interesting as we start to talk about, like, jobs and things like that, right? That's like the domino effect is there will be more moderates who are central who start to see, like, okay, I don't want to switch it all off, but yeah, we've got some problems. But it'll have to burn them first, right?
I'd like it not to, but so we'll get to the next story. So our next story is a DeepSeek researcher, and DeepSeek is the Chinese company that released the much smaller model that performs nearly as well as ChatGPT. So holy cow, say that 5 times fast. DeepSeek researcher, AI will take over human jobs in a decade. And the reason this is news is because DeepSeek, this Chinese group, has only been heard from twice. Once last February when they released the model, and again now with this warning. They are a very private, secretive part of this Chinese organization that is doing this AI research. And so it's notable that the only times they've shown up to say anything are, one, to tell everybody OpenAI is full of shit. We did all of the stuff that they did much cheaper with much less electricity and much more effectively. And now again to say, DeepSeek senior researcher Chen Deli said that AI would replace human jobs within a decade. Quote, in the next 10 to 20 years, AI could take over the rest of the work humans perform, and society could face a massive challenge. So at the time, tech companies need to take the role of defender. And from the random website that I pulled this quote from, Deli's warning comes in the wake of similar reports from tech company executives speaking about how AI is quickly replacing many human jobs. Anthropic's chief executive officer, Dario Amodei, said that AI writes up to 90% of the code that the company's products run on and said it could do away with half of the entry-level white-collar jobs, increasing unemployment. And so DeepSeek is coming out and saying, hey, you got like a decade before the things that we're working on have put, I think they're probably over ambitious that it's going to put all of you out of work, but it is basically saying the white collar job bloodbath is here. You are all getting fired. Welcome to the life of the coal miner. You're fucked. And I think we should listen to the people in charge of the AI when they tell us that what they're doing, whether that's their explicit goal or not, the consequence that they see is pretty bad. And ironically, the Chinese DeepSeek researcher is coming out and saying, hey, all of you capitalist companies, you shouldn't want this. You should protect your workers. The entire series of quotes from him is basically saying, you're responsible. You're the ones in charge of humanity. It's no longer governments, it's corporations. And you're the ones who are on the hook for treating your workers well and not doing this. And just sort of laying down that gauntlet. Now, none of them are going to listen to him because they already hate the fact that DeepSeek has created a model that is much more efficient and equally performant as what they've blown billions of dollars doing. But it's a warning, and I'd like for us to listen to it.
Yeah, I've been here for a long time now, like just a long time, and you and I have talked about it ad nauseum, right? Like, what are we missing? What are we missing
And they're not seeing it
explains
either.
it?
Right? They're not seeing it either. Clearly, they're just like, yeah, on the current pace, the model replaces you and there is no new job. Good luck.
It's such an odd position, though. It just doesn't make any sense unless they really only look at their own dish, right? And say, us laying 15,000 people off isn't going to impact the economy. It's like, but everybody's doing the same as you. I guess it could be that, right? Where it's like, well, don't blame us. We only laid off 15,000. We're not responsible for the 5 million. It's like, but
you're all in it together. You're all the
yeah.
same 8 guys in charge. And no, it's, yeah. Well,
But
so
it
I will say,
force the conversation a lot earlier. I think it has to, right? It has to force some pretty tough conversations about, because it's not a political challenge, right? I think it's gonna, yeah, I'll go out on a limb and say it's gonna break capitalism, right? As we know it.
pretty much. Yeah, I think so. Well, and so I'll just merge these two stories into one. So the senators Josh Hawley and Mark Warner introduced a Senate bill called the AI Related Jobs Impact Clarity Act. And it would mandate that certain companies and federal agencies regularly disclose information about how AI is shaping the workforce, from layoffs to new hires. Hawley and Warner cite Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei's warning that it's going to drive unemployment to 10 to 20% in the next 5 years. And basically, they're saying, okay, so if that's the case, then you need to start reporting on it the same way you report on a bunch of other of your financial information. And so entities covered by the bill would be required to disclose, quote, any artificial intelligence related job impact no more than 30 days after the last day of each quarter, which is, I mean, that gives you, a lot of time to do some pretty bad stuff before you need to tell anyone about it. But okay. Quote, artificial intelligence is already replacing American workers, and experts project AI could drive unemployment up to 10 to 20% in the next 5 years, Hawley said. The American people need to have an accurate understanding of how AI is affecting our workforce so we can ensure that AI works for the people, not the other way around. And I'm never going to give Josh Hawley credit for anything. He's a fundamentalist whack job who is antithetical to everything I believe in, but a broken clock is right twice a day. Not good on him, but like, okay, cool. We've got a Republican who's agreeing that we should actually have companies not replacing their workers. It is wild that every once in a while, the truly libertarian ones I'm not going to say he has a good idea. He agrees with the people who have good ideas. And okay, great. But yeah, people need to wake up. We need to start having the government pay attention to this shit because it's bad, actually.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised with Josh Hawley on this one.
Right?
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I love that it's bipartisan and it's being proposed. It'll be interesting to see how long before it passes.
And then the House passes it, and then Trump signs it. Like, unfortunately, our Congress is fully bought and paid for by the people who have no desire to do this. So doing this feels like a little bit of cover your ass. Okay, well, we can claim that we at least wanted to blah, blah, blah. So yeah, my faith in the current makeup of the Congress is 0, probably a negative number at this point. But sure,
Yeah,
I
that's
guess at
sort of
least
where I was
somebody's
going with
talking
it.
about it.
Yeah, that's sort of where I was going is like, is it, I don't know, it just seems like it's a good first step. I'll say that. Like, it's nice that it's bipartisan too right now. Josh Hawley just surprises me, but it's a good first step. But if it does prove to be like the only thing in the next year, then yeah,
Right,
it's just to check a box, right?
right. Exactly. Yep. I
Because 10
don't
to
know.
20%, I mean, let's talk about the domino effect, right? Like the market, like there's no way the market could sustain that. The housing market, how?
Yeah,
Education?
I just don't understand how they think this turns out for them. What okay, so 20% unemployment, which I don't know, I'd have to go back and look at the historical blah blah blahs about unemployment, but like the the shock to the like this is again, it comes back to when the SNAP benefits weren't being handed out to people and immediately grocery stores in deep red rural areas were screwed because there were no consumers to buy from them. Like the impact of this is what do you think the future is when you've AI automated away all of the jobs? Who's paying the company that they used to work at for the services that they used to like it turns into it's kind of what the current open AI is invested in by Nvidia is invested in by some other company, some other Oracle is invested in by open AI. Like it just becomes this giant financial circle jerk between 8 billionaires paying each other a bunch of things and the rest of us just starve to death. Like I don't where do they think the future of their money comes from if there's no one to consume their products? It's just fundamentally stupid. Like that's the thing I can't get over is like someone convinced me that it isn't just morons. Like how is this not just dipshits not thinking past the next quarter's profits? Because it doesn't make sense. I don't what's the plan? You guys don't even like you're not even all actually billionaires. Your billions are predicated on the value of your stock. And your stock is predicated on the market believing you have a thing that is going to churn them profits. And at some point, when that stops working, you're no longer billionaires. So your secret plan to go fuck off to an island, you'd better do that now, buddy. You'd better have that thing paid for and ready to go now. I don't know. I'm just, the whole thing is baffling. I don't get it.
Yeah, no, same. Like it's just truly baffling. Like somebody's got a plan somewhere and it's evil and it's going well for them. Damien
Right.
Oman, but just does appear like a bunch of morons who are like, I can't connect the dots or I'm just so narcissistic, like I don't give a shit, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
maybe when you have that much money, like you sort of live in this disconnected state,
It's that
but it
episode
doesn't make
of
any sense.
did you watch the other two on HBO about the siblings of the kid who goes viral on TikTok and becomes like an overnight star and how it impacts their lives?
Yeah.
It's a really good show, and one of the episodes has the sister dating a tech guy, and in the middle of dinner, the tech guy becomes a billionaire, and he immediately goes crazy. Like they just cut to her reacting to him becoming a billionaire, and when they cut back to him, he's like bald, and he starts like physically climbing up the walls and going crazy and being like a total psychopath. Because I think becoming a billionaire breaks your brain. Like I genuinely like I think you become incompetent. Like it just everything about having that much money and what that does to you and the things that it changes in your way that you evaluate other people and your existence. It's bad for just the sake of, I don't know, we shouldn't allow billionaires to exist.
Can you imagine me with $1 billion?
Can't actually.
I mean, it would
There's
not be
50-50
good.
whether like if I become a billionaire, I either just go buy an island off of Scotland and go live there because that would be great and amazing and I just go tour around and drink wine in Paris and just exist. There's another part of me that would go buy myself a senator and start just fully trying to take over the world, and that's good for me and good for a lot of people, but I can appreciate why people wouldn't want that to happen. So, yeah, I don't think anybody should probably
Yeah,
have $1 billion.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would not be. I would not be very forgiving as the last billionaire. I don't think Kevin, you be worse than me, but Yeah, it would do funny things to your mind. I mean, I'm certainly compassionate. Like, I would definitely put quite a few more kids through college, but I would definitely be outside of everything. I would not be building my own grok. I don't need
Right.
more than a billion.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I don't need more than a billion. One's enough. One's too much, right?
One's too much. Yeah.
Because I'm gonna figure out like don't get me wrong, I love a buffer, which is like cool. Like keep a spare 100 million somewhere, but yeah, you just gotta go live life. Like I can fill my time, so I'm not building another grok. But yeah, it's kind of weird in a way. Like what these guys are gonna do? Go shack up on their island, thinking like we can't get boats and pitchforks.
October 2025 was the worst year for layoffs in 22 years. And I think the AI white collar apocalypse might be here. And this is, going to be some of the first signs. The CNBC article, job cuts for the month totaled 153,074, a 183% surge from September and 175% higher than the same month a year ago. It was the highest level for any October since 2003. It's been the worst year for announced layoffs since 2009. 2009, gee, what was going on in 2009, and should we be taking that as a sign? In total, companies have announced 1.1 million cuts this year, a 65% increase from a year ago, and the highest since the COVID pandemic. So this is a quote from Andy Challenger. Some industries are correcting after the hiring boom of the pandemic. I call some bullshit on that, but this comes as AI adoption, softening consumer and corporate spending, and rising costs drive belt tightening and hiring freezes. Those laid off now are finding it harder to quickly secure new roles, which would further loosen the labor market. And that's from Andy Challenger, the workplace expert and chief revenue officer at outplacement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas. I've never heard of an outplacement firm, which is apparently a company that helps people who've been laid off, like with career counseling, finding the next path, doing resume building, and all of that kind of stuff. Just a terrible name. Outplacement? Who invented this bullshit weird phrase to deal with the fact that companies have laid you off? Anyways, also, this is a reaction to rising costs. Trump's tariffs are a massive tax on everybody, and he's fully cratering an economy that was starting to recover under Biden. But cool, good job. Thanks, Trump. So the numbers are 14,000 from Amazon. And by the way, there was a New York Times expose last week or the week before where they discovered internal strategy documents from Amazon that said the company is planning to lay off 600,000 roles by 2033 through automation. That's a little bit robotics and AI, but Amazon is in this new kick of we're going to be a startup again. And to be a startup, we don't need middle management. AI is going to do a bunch of stuff. And there's an entire episode about there are absolutely bad versions of middle management, but there's also a ton of benefit to large corporations helping people get better at their jobs. UPS fired 48,000 people. Some of that was truck drivers, but a lot of that was office jobs. Paramount, Chegg, Target, Meta all had layoffs in October. And it's, worst month in 23 years. This LinkedIn article, by the way, that talks about it has the worst final paragraph I've ever read. That's not true, but I'm fairly annoyed by this. If you're concerned about potential layoffs, be sure to showcase your value every day at work. And if you've been impacted by the cuts announced this week, here's how to work on turning the hardship into a career opportunity. Fuck you. No, what the hell? My solution to being fucked by AI and all of these capitalists increasing their own wealth at the expense of the worker is every day I need to do more to show my value to the company. Fuck you. These companies wouldn't exist without their workers. AI is going to fall on its face because, by the way, I'm not convinced AI is actually ready to do any of this. They're jumping the gun because a bunch of dipshits in charge saw a chatbot respond to them looking like a human and were like, well, then I can fire a bunch of people who look like humans to me because I'm a fucking robot in charge of all of this bullshit. But it's absolutely insane that we've basically started the job cuts thanks to AI, and we're here. I think this is the start of it, and it's infuriating and dumb and bad, and we should pull the plug.
Yeah. I mean, pulling the plug is one way to stop us completely screwing ourselves. I just don't think they will.
No.
But I'm also, I live in hope that it's going to be so fast, you can't ignore it, right? It's not going to be like a couple of 100 families here or there in
Right.
Michigan, like it was with I shouldn't minimize the numbers, but it's not a regional thing. It's like everyone everywhere. So the states are going to feel the impact, right? All the states are going to feel the impact. So, well, maybe not places like Idaho and, Not that I'm picking on them for not having tech. I'm
We
just
should
saying you probably have less tech than everybody else,
we should pick on Idaho just because Idaho's the worst. But yeah,
Well, they got potatoes, but
I suppose. Yeah, the one good thing is
Idaho,
the yeah.
I suppose. Sorry. So yeah,
So,
it's going to force the argument a lot earlier, right? And that is good.
hopefully,
Like this comes into line with we only change when we're at the sort of edge of disaster, right? And
great.
it's going to happen so fast. It will be the collateral damage, right?
Yeah, that's the part I'd love to avoid. We could notice it now. We could notice it now. We're all noticing it now. Here's a TikTok. I want it to go viral. Can we notice it now? Because what the fuck?
Yeah, it's scary, right? Like we are. I mean, you and I were calling it long before a lot of the experts. We were calling it
Right.
long before a lot of the economists. We sort of, we've been talking about the Industrial Revolution because that's what people are sort of leaning on to say it's going to be just like the Industrial Revolution. It's like,
Right.
okay,
No. Yeah.
no. But yeah, we've been calling this for a while, like until somebody does more than just sort of a token piece of
Right.
legislation that says, hey, we want to know the numbers that are related to AI layoffs. It's like,
Right.
cool.
Let's actually.
But most of the people who are getting laid off to AI in the first 2 years have probably already lost their jobs, right?
Right. So yeah,
So cool.
no, it is. Well, and I will say so. UBS, I don't even know what you call UBS, the massive investment bank, released a study like I think a week ago, basically trying to look at what's going on in the market in general and starting to realize like, okay, crap, yeah, the layoffs are mounting and this is becoming a problem. And so the article is, yikes, top investment bank looks under the hood of the economy and finds the labor market doesn't look that good. No shit, Sherlock. Cool. Thanks for catching up to where we've been pointing out, but okay, great. And so it's, the article, a leading investment bank has delivered an arresting diagnosis of the U.S. economy. The labor market, long a pillar of resilience, may be in real trouble. I mean, a pillar of resilience. Okay, cool. What does that mean? Unemployment surges whenever shit goes wrong and the investors want to protect themselves. But okay, in their latest economic outlook, UBS economists led by Jonathan Pingle, great name, painted a picture of mounting weakness that extends well beyond headline job numbers, warning of a growing risk to households and the broader recovery. The investment bank's conclusion, if layoffs keep pace and hiring continues to slow, the labor market is headed for a more obvious contraction, and that, they warn, could soon filter down to undermining household confidence and consumer spending. No shit, you think when people don't have a job and they can't spend, then other people are going to realize they don't have any consumers to buy from them, and that's what's going to cause them to fire other people? Like, it's the entire US economy is a confidence-based house of cards. Always has been, always will be in the current state. Yeah, duh. Again, this goes back to what we just talked about. What do people think the outcome is? What is your expected outcome when you do all of this? It's bonkers.
It's crazy that, and I don't want to sound too conceited, but sometimes I'm driving through like really nice areas, certainly in Miami, and I see these gigantic houses, and I think to myself, like, you can sort of have an inferiority complex about it, right? Like, what do these guys do that I'm not good at doing? And I realized, like, I don't actually think it's that. I think that guys who got into jobs where you can be totally stupid. Like, I genuinely do not understand economics right now. And
it's luck and bullshit. Luck and bullshit got them there.
Yeah, this Jonathan Pingle, like, how much does this guy get paid to paint a picture of mounting weakness that we weren't talking about a year ago?
Right. Somebody give me the fuck you money, because I've been aware of this for much longer and could have told you all this. And yeah, no, it is ridiculous.
I think we should have a segment where we just ask for fuck you money from people. But like,
you really should. I'm going to need you to transfer last year's salary to me because I already knew all of this. And welcome to the party. I guess I shouldn't be mad that you're finally here, but the hell. Yeah.
This goes back to my shout about like those graphic designers who were making new logos for American sports teams too. Like, shit, man, that stuff should not cost $5 million. I've seen the result. It's crap. Like,
yeah, no.
Kevin and I could just do a lot of stuff better, right? And we'll do it for half the price. I think we'd agree.
That'd still be much more than I'm getting paid now. So yeah,
you heard it here. You heard it here.
Come hire us to tell you ahead of time.
Stupid billionaires who want to waste even less money than you're wasting now. That's a positive, by the way. That's less than you're wasting right now. Pay Kevin and I 50% of what you pay these guys. This Dingle guy, right? Jonathan Dingle. pay us half and we will tell you this shit a year ahead of time what's going to happen. Like if you put your hand in the oven and the oven's on, yes, you're going to get burnt. So yeah,
Right.
there you go. You heard it
I
here
do
first.
I do hope that there's a little bit of if UBS is paying attention to this, that maybe finally some adults in the room are going to actually worry about what it means for them and realize the domino effect. Because part of the other concern is we aren't going to ever know how bad October really was because the Trump administration has said they are not going to release all of the October numbers. They're blaming it on the shutdown. And part of that's true. Part of it is for 40 days, people weren't doing the things. And by the way we get economic numbers in this country is insane. You do surveys and we call like a couple tens of thousands of people and ask them questions. That's how we predict the economy, is asking questions. Anyways, because a little bit because of the shutdown, a little bit also, by the way, because in August, the Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner, Dr. Erica McIntarfer, how do you pronounce her poor last name? McIntarfer? All right. Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner Dr. Erica McIntarfer in August was fired by Trump because she didn't publish the numbers he wanted to see. She published the truth. And the truth was the August numbers were pretty bad. And Trump doesn't want you realizing truth. He called his social network Truth Social because he's an ironic dipshit, not because he's actually interested in that. Anything that doesn't praise dear leader is going to get shut down in this administration. And so the October numbers they know are pretty bad. It's partially true that the shutdown impacted it, but they're just going to not give you the October numbers. And now I would bet you the likelihood that we get November numbers, the likelihood that we ever get actual reality numbers coming out of this administration, they're going to make Trump look bad. They're going to make this economy look bad. And I'm worried we're not actually going to find out the numbers. And I'm hoping the fact that a company like UBS is paying attention and trying to figure out what's going on, they have more interest in their money making sense than in praising Donald Trump. And so I'm hoping like a 1% chance that they do this. But every institution for the last 11 months has caved and given into whatever dear leader wants. And if Trump wants it, he gets it. And so I'm not holding out hope that we're going to have anybody actually hold him responsible. But I don't know. Some people are starting to wake up and realize, uh-oh, shit's real bad. Maybe we shouldn't let the Cheeto in chief dictate to us what our future looks like because it makes him feel
Yeah,
bad. Fuck him.
yeah, but at least gas is cheaper now than.
Sure. Yep. Definitely makes the $400 you have to pay for Thanksgiving dinner this year worth it. It was
I
cheaper to
love
get to the grocery
America.
store.
I love
It's
America.
just
The last
awful.
10 years of looking at gas prices, or not paid so
Just
little for gas.
the stupidest people in the world in charge.